Here we go.
So we stop right there and just go right back to the video.
Great question. Okay, what Muhammad is asking, what if the customer don't like the car? Okay, we showed them how to get their credit reestablished and said, based on all the information you've given us, we found some vehicles that work really well for you. And if there is one that works really well, we'll go ahead and show it to you first. What Muhammad is asking is, if we go show them that car and they don't like it, what do we do?
Go back to the desk and let them know that.
Great, no problem. Let's find one that you do like.
No problem attitude.
That's it. Great, no problem. Let's find one that you do like. Now, could it be that they don't like it, but maybe, let's just say that they make $1,700 a month. And let's say that the vehicle that they like is $600 a month. Does that ever happen? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Because what a customer wants is not always what they need, and it's not always what's good for their family. Is that right? But if you and I come across the wrong way and we have the perception that we're just trying to sell them what we want to sell them, they're not going to buy into it, are they? You could have the right heart and you could be doing the right thing for this customer and their family, but if they don't know it, is it any good? No. Okay, so back to Muhammad's question. Let's find one that no problem. Let's find one that you do like. They may end up still taking that car. Is that right, Muhammad?
Yeah.
But we're going to have to show them why. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, everything that we went over earlier with your credit and everything is the reason why we found some of these vehicles. We wanted to find something that was going to work for you, that had enough room, and had everything that you wanted in it. Now, the one that you really do like is going to be more payment. Now, the lender that's willing to work with us, they're willing to work with us, but they're only going to go a certain amount in payment. You remember we talked about that earlier? They wanted to keep it down as low as we could. Well, based on all the information you've given us and your income, there's only so much payment they're going to allow us. And they're the ones giving us the money. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, if you make your payments on time, now here's where a lot of salespeople lie. They tell the customer stuff like this. If you make your payments on time for 6 months, I'll get you out of it. Yes or no?
Yes.
I know you guys have heard it before.
Yes.
That's a lie. Quit lying to your customers. That's why you're not closing deals. You know what they're hearing? That's what the last place told me. And they also said that I wasn't going to be upside down. Now I got a payoff of $18,000, and you guys are telling me my trade's worth $12,000. Here we go again. Another what?
A lie.
Yeah. So we got to quit lying. Listen, look at the customer right in their face and tell them the truth. That's how you sell cars. That's how you hold gross. And that's how you keep your business long and your bank portfolio. If you don't have a good bank portfolio, what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. You know what's happening in our industry right now? Lenders are closing their doors. Do you think they're really closing their doors because they're crazy and silly? Well, maybe, partly so. But one of the reasons is because car dealers do things like, oh, look, we don't need proof of income. So let's just do whatever we can and let's put this family in a vehicle so in 6 months it's going to be a repo. They don't make the money, but we don't need proof of income, so it don't really matter. So what happens? They get in a vehicle, and 6 months down the road, what happens? They get a repossession. They have problem credit in the first place, so we already know they can't manage their what? Their money or their budget. So we need to do what's right, and we need to tell them the truth. If you will make your payments for about 15 months, 18 months, 24 months, keep in mind you're going to have negative equity when you go to trade. So you'll want to save up some money down. If I were you, personally, I would probably try to keep it for about 2 years or so. Save up some money down. Maybe come back at tax time if you do normally get a refund, and then get into something else that you really do like. The good news about this program, these lenders are on a simple interest loan, which means any extra that you pay or when you go to trade the vehicle in, all the interest does fall off. Now, if you're not on a simple interest loan, don't say that. In the state of North Carolina, most of the lenders are simple interest. And most of the ones that you guys, because I know your dealerships, the lenders that you use are simple interest loans. Is that right, Ed? So we sell them on how to get reestablished, right, Sina? We sell them on how to get reestablished, and we show them how to do it, and we build the dream. You'll be able to get into an SUV if you make your payments on time. Later on down the road, you'll be able to get a lower interest rate and better terms and conditions with a good credit history. Well, I really just want an SUV now. Okay, well, great. Well, let me ask you something. Down the road in about a year, if you didn't do anything today, would you be in the same boat in a year from now or 2 years from now? Well, I guess you're right. I would be. Well, why don't you just make payments on this one? Get your credit history going. So down the road in a couple of years, you can get into an SUV. Okay, well, that makes sense. No one else put it to me that way. You know, I've been 3 places, and you're the first one that said that. Everyone else was just trying to shove me into whatever they wanted to shove me in. Does that ever happen? Do you think that that could be that easy with a customer?
Can I ask you one more thing?
Sure.
When a manager comes and says, we'll take a couple of cars, or, you know, the first one,
Mhm.
if he uses that stuff, and then when you go out to the lots and show him one car, they never be satisfied. So whatever you do, because they want to pay only
They want choices.
$200.
They want choices.
Yeah, because they want to only pay $200 and no money down
Mhm.
with a credit that sucks. You know? They become like all that fragile creature in front of you becomes like monster and says, "Hey, would I have more? Would I have more? What are you gonna show me? Is this the only thing you have? I want to see more." And then you say, "Okay, that's no problem. I have one more thing," and then you go and grab the keys. And then
Well,
go
it
back
depends.
and
It depends.
say, "You know what? This doesn't even have cruise control." And now enter keyless entry system.
Yeah.
And then you say, "Yeah."
I can promise you this. Hey, that's a good question. That's a great question, and that's real life, isn't it? Okay. 2 things here. 2 things here. Is anybody ever going to go for something if there's not enough value built?
No.
Okay. First of all, what I would ask myself, if that's my customer, did I really sell myself? Did I really sell the dealership? Did I really sell the program on how to get reestablished? Did I really sell them on the dream on how to get reestablished? Okay, if I've done all that, guess what? Let me show you something. If I've done all that, am I going to sell more or less? I'm going to sell more. Am I going to sell them all?
No.
Of course not. I already know that if I talk to 100 people, I'm going to sell, 80 of them are going to say no. Is that right? Some of them may be just like what you said, some of those 80. I know for a fact that my goal is to get that person, I don't know, maybe 80 times. I'm good with it. Because if I talk to 100 people, 80 of them say no, how many do I sell? 20. Now, 20 cars a month. Can you get lucky and sell 20 in a year or in a month? Of course you can get lucky. But can you get lucky and sell 240 cars in a year? Is that luck?
No.
No. That means that you're on some type of process. Something's going on with your skills. You're selling something. Does that make sense? So it's not going to work every time. But if you do a good job and you're connected with your customer and you do have that rapport and they really, really believe, you know, you're taking them through the process, you'll be able to switch most of them. Now, you'll still have some that won't. You'll still have some people that come in there and no matter what, they're just going to be nasty. But that's only going to be 10% if you do a good job selling yourself, the credit and getting reestablished, the product, and the dealership. You're still going to have it. And we want it. We welcome it. We want to sell 20 cars. We're going to have to talk to 100 people to do it. Does that make sense? Now, if we're not on the process, and let's say we sell, let's just say that we're selling 10 cars a month right now. And we're talking to 100 people. Okay, how many of them didn't buy? 90. So you were selling 1 out of 10. But if you follow the process and you do a really good job, you get better at skills, you get better at all the steps, you get better at the basics. What if you could just sell 2 out of 10? What would that do? That would double your numbers. You'd be right back at what? 20. Does that make sense? We can't get them all. I hope I answered your question. Now,
But sometimes you have only like 5 or 3, like at most 10 minutes. Probably you have like 5 minutes. So it's so tough to build report and then investigate and then sell yourself. You have already sold yourself.
You actually have less time than that.
Yeah.
You actually have less time than that. It's got to be, if you don't have the right greeting and you're not saying the right things, and that's why we got to get better every day. Heck, I'm getting better. I've been doing this for 16 years, and I pride myself in being able to get a customer to flop in the first few seconds. But I still got to work on it. But that's all we can do. You know, we can only focus on the things that are in our control. We can't sell them all. And I can promise you, there's not a salesperson out there that's 100% closer. It's impossible. We can only do the best that we can. Now, in this market, is it tougher?
Yep.
It's tougher now than ever. You know, in the 90s, they said it's tougher now than ever. You know, in the 80s, they said it was tougher now than ever. So it's not going to get easier. It's going to get tougher. But the good news is, if you have the right skills, the right habits, and the right attitude, along with the right process, you can sell more cars than you're selling now. Does that make sense? And that's what we got to focus on. It's real easy to say, well, we'll do this and it won't work, and we'll do this and it won't work. But if you got the right process and you're doing it the right way, you'll find that it works for 80% of the people. You won't sell them all, but it works for 80%. You're still going to have 10% that are going to be, you can do everything right and they're not going to buy from you. That's just a fact. And then you're also going to have 10% of the people, you don't have to do anything right, and they're going to do what? They're going to buy. You can just skip every step and they're still going to buy a car. You might not have that much gross, but it's just a fact. You don't have to be good to sell those ones. You'll do 1 out of 10. All right, so I hope I answered your question too, Muhammad, on that, because they were kind of both together.